Welcome to the intersection of Black culture and horticulture with your girl, Colah be talking. And guess what, y'all? We Black in the garden. From WABE Studios, welcome to Black in the Garden, the intersection between Black culture and horticulture. I'm your host, Colah be talking, and today we're going to pick up right where we left off with the incredible Patrick Muhammad, also known as the Principal Farmer. Thank you so much for staying with us. You know, we're just going to keep the conversation going. So let's talk a little bit about part one. We explored Patrick's journey of transforming your faith farms into a 31-acre model of sustainable homesteading. We learned what homesteading is and how it's important to the Black community, how his work has empowered over 30 families to start their own farming journeys. Today, we're going to shift gears and we're going to dive into Patrick's your other love. You have so many loves. Patrick's groundbreaking role at Chattahoochee Hills Charter School, where he's shaping the next generation of environmental stewards by blending hands-on agricultural education with academic excellence and only excellence. Okay. We'll hear about how Patrick is using farming as a tool to teach students life skills, build stronger communities, and inspire young minds to cultivate a brighter and more sustainable future. Patrick is the author of Farming by Faith and the leader of Your Faith Farms?
The family member.
The family.
The leader of my wife.
Okay, no, the wife would not agree with that. But let's dig in. Patrick, welcome back to Black in the Garden.
Thank you. It's always an honor to be with you and your team because excellence is your standard.
Indeed.
And so it's an honor to be next to excellence one more time.
Like-minded thinking. So let's just get right into it because, you know, we got you here and I know you got the students, your phone's ringing and all that kind of stuff. So we do appreciate your time. Being the principal of Chattahoochee Hills Charter School. It really is a mouthful.
Oh,
I'm doing good.
You can do Chat Hills.
Okay, Chat Hills. We'll call it Chat Hills a little bit. Well, how many students?
I have 540 students.
540 students at Chattahoochee Hills Charter School.
Yes, ma'am.
And where is it located?
We're in South Fulton.
In South Fulton County, Georgia. You know, y'all know that WABE is proudly here in Atlanta. And so we want to learn more about your experience being the principal at Chat Hills. And we want to learn more about how everything that you have been doing with Your Faith Farms is influencing how you're teaching those kids and making sure that they get to be the next face similar to you. We need more Black principals, right?
That's the goal.
We need more Black farmers.
Absolutely.
And so you're playing both of those roles simultaneously, beautifully. I'm so glad that you have the help that you have. In my experience with your team, it has been a wonderful experience. So I'm glad that you are supported. So let's get into your transition.
Thank you, Colah. So I'm right now at year 29 of public education. And 25 of those years have been in administration.
Okay.
And so I've been principal in all of the larger school systems within Metro Atlanta. And I've obviously was a principal before I purchased the farm. And so I've always been a disruptive kind of principal. I'm not status quo. I'm not my baby's doing something different. I mean, almost 15 to 18 years ago, we were raising trout with my kindergartners and releasing trout in the Chattahoochee River when I was in DeKalb County. We had started a hydroponic system when hydroponics was not the word and tore up some ground at one of my schools, right? And so I've always been that principal that's not status quo. My babies are doing something different. And so, of course, we talked about how we moved into the farm space. And I had taken 2 years off of public education because the farm was so demanding. And not knowing what we were doing, I opened up my farm to a soccer program. And so I had 400 children playing soccer on a cow farm because I didn't know what to do with the land.
You had 31 acres. And just because you have all them acres doesn't mean you know what to do with all of it.
I didn't know what to do with it. So I had a soccer program. So then community was playing soccer at my house, basically. And so one day, my cows get on the soccer field.
Oh.
And this lady, I go up to my cows, I get back over there, right? And this lady said, wait a minute, you live here. And I was like, yes. They said, we thought you were just a soccer dad. I said, I am a soccer dad.
Right.
But I live here, and those are my cows.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, but you're the principal. I said, well, I'm off right now, whatever. And she said, there's a school that's focused on agriculture that's looking for a principal. So I heard her, and it kind of went in one ear, and I was like, yeah, right. And she said, it's Chattahoochee Hills. And so when she said Chattahoochee Hills, I'm in South Fulton. I immediately went to way up 400 somewhere in my mind. And so long story short, time went by, and I Googled Chattahoochee Hills, and it was 5 minutes from my farm. See, faith is all in everything that we do.
Isn't it?
And so I emailed the executive director and said, hey, my name is so-and-so, whatever. And I get a call back, and he's like, is this a fake resume? Or is this real? How is it that you live 5 minutes from this school, you're a farmer, and you're a principal with all this experience, and we're looking for a principal with farming experience?
Too good to be true.
Too good to be
true. They
true.
thought you were scamming them.
He thought it was a scam. And so long story short, we end up doing the interview, and round one went very well. When round two happened, it was the parents' round.
Okay.
So when I walk in the room with the parents, they say, we know him. We've been at his house for the last 2 years playing soccer.
A fan favorite.
Right. And so long story short, I took over Chattahoochee Hills in 2018. And it took me a couple years for my principalship to kind of right the ship, and get the school into the functioning order that it needed to be sustainable. And once we got it to that point, that's when the principal farmer merged the two. Yeah. And we began to focus on sustainable agriculture, environmental awareness, and the appreciation of the arts.
Wow. 5 minutes away?
5 with two red lights.
With 2 red lights, and they really thought that you were scamming on them, but you was just the perfect person for the job.
God works in mysterious ways.
Indeed. Your involvement with education and, of course, matriculation and becoming a leader there, I'm sure it made it that much more possible for you to have the resources to purchase the farm.
Yes. My wife and I are both educators. And
right.
I want to make sure that the audience knows that from educator's salary, we bought 31 acres. Mm-hmm. We didn't inherit anything. Mm-hmm. I'm not a trust fund baby. Mm-hmm. And my wife's from East Point.
Okay.
So East Point and East St. Louis bought a 31 acre farm. So it is doable, people out there.
It is doable. So would you say that it is just your faith that really kind of helped motivate you to starting the new chapter?
Yes, and I believe no is yes. I just have to get so many no's to get to yes. So tell me no, I'd say thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get another no.
We're not caught up on the no's.
No.
Next opportunity is what I say.
Next opportunity.
Hello.
Right.
Okay. So you did mention when you got there, it took a little time to get it ready.
Yes.
So did you see the immediate opportunities when you first got there to bring agriculture into the school? Tell us about the process.
Yes. When I got there, so the school was 4 years old when I got there. A phenomenal concept.
That's pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
Only 4 years old?
Yeah, the school was only 4 years old when I got there. Phenomenal concept. Sits on an 11-acre campus. Have individual buildings, extremely unique. And there were some animals there. And there was just a lack of the cohesion between how do we teach these children this agriculture environment, but maintain the academic requirements that's necessary for public education.
Right, because we can't just talk about farming all day.
No, and children can't play outside for 6 hours a day.
Dang.
And African-American children can't play outside for 6 hours a day and then go take a test.
Right.
And so you have to have the balance of opportunity, exposure, and academics. It has to all line up because at the end of the day, we are still judged by standardized tests. That's what public education is. Now, I am an advocate of teaching the whole child. Mm-hmm. See, right now, because of corporate funding, it's all focused on tests. But we have children that have emotional challenges. We have children that are coming from homes that are not stable. We have children that are dealing with the loss of a parent. We have children that are dealing with the absence of a parent, right? Mm-hmm. So there's so much that children are dealing with that you have to address first before I can pile on these academic requirements. So at our school, we are intentional about teaching and developing the whole child. At my school, every child, somebody knows their name. It's not, hey, son, hey, boy. No, we call them by name. At my school, every child knows that they're going to get a smile and a hug and a high five when they need it. At my school, we make sure that we open every door of every child getting out of the car and welcome them to the place where we're about to serve their needs, because I can't teach them to be servant leadership if I don't exercise servant leadership. So we are focused on attributes that you'll never see on a standardized test. But I know, and we have the proof positive, that we're developing children that are successful later on in life because we're focused on the individual child.
I love that. Wow. They have so many different needs, and there is a lot of awareness as to what those needs are.
Absolutely.
And a enthusiasm around serving those needs.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the agricultural lessons. You're known for weaving those hands-on lessons into the curriculum. Can you walk us through how you do that and why it's so impactful for them?
Absolutely. So we do something called From Seed to Seat, to where every child, kindergarten through 8th grade, twice a year, have the experience of taking a seed, planting that seed, then nourishing that seed until it turns into a seedling, and then maintaining that seedling until it's ready to be transplanted into our 2-acre garden. Once they transplant into the 2-acre garden, they're now responsible for nourishing it as it grows and prepares for harvest. Once it prepares for harvest, they're responsible for harvesting that and then bringing it back so that we can consume it in their seed. It could be consumed as a salad, or they might make it into a sauce, or they might make it into a dish. But that's the experience from seed to seed. Additionally, we have various animals on campus, from goats to rabbits to bearded dragons to guardian livestock dogs to horses and ponies and pigs and alpacas, you name it. My children have had the experience, but we also teach them to cherish the smallest form of life. So you see my babies, oh, don't step on that ladybug. They'll pick up the ladybug and they'll take it over, right? Or they'll see a trail of ants and they're stepping over it, right? So if we can teach children how to value the smallest form of life, imagine how they value your life. So my babies are not going to be the ones that you read on the news that rob somebody at a gas station. No, because they value that life. So we teach them to plant positivity, right? We teach them to leave every interaction better than you found it.
Yes.
Right? We teach them that you should be a servant leader and be a social influencer and not influenced by social media. My children are the one that will say, I want to debate you about deforestation. Because yes, you're cutting down those trees, but what are you doing with the wildlife that's living and that's their habitat? Are you mindful of those raccoons and mindful of the coyotes? And you talk about there's too many deers crossing the road, but you took their homes away. These are the conversations that our children are having because we're making them mindful of more than just their life. We're making them mindful of the ecosystem that all of us live and depend on.
Yeah, they have that awareness, that mindfulness. You're teaching them to ask the questions and to challenge the things that should be challenged around that. I want to learn more about your broader vision for your students, right? How do you want them to think about their place in the world as they grow and start considering their futures?
Yes, I remember a saying growing up, can one man change the world, right? And one man can indeed change the world if he changes his block. And then that block changes the community, and that community begins to change the state, and that state begins to change the country, and that country begins to change the world. And so when you understand that you have extreme value on the planet, you're not a nothing, right? And if you think you're a nothing, I'm going to put a 1 next to you. Now you're tenfold. And then I'm going to add another nothing next to you. Now that's 100.
Isn't that how
it works? And so when we teach children that you are valuable and you have a responsibility to this planet, right? Then they begin to find their place in this space, right? And they begin to actualize. And so we are pushing children, yes, to 1890 land grant colleges, right? Because the 1890 land-grant colleges, 19 universities, HBCUs that are part of the Farm Bill that have scholarships that go under-applied for every year. Under-applied for. And those scholarships are 4-year bachelor's degree, then your master's degree, and then your first employment. And so if we can push children to that ag space through those 1890, now we're developing something called regenerational farming. Right?
Regeneration.
What I mean by regenerational farming is there's aspects of farming that granddaddy didn't teach to daddy, that daddy didn't teach to son because we ran away from the farms. But if I can teach my children at Chat Hills to teach your dad how to do this, how to go from seed to seed, and then dad's going to teach granddaddy, and then granddaddy's going to remember, well, baby, this is how we did it back. And now that cycle. See, at my school, we teach anti-drive-through. You know what that means?
Gotcha. That means you're teaching them to prioritize growing what they can versus going to get it at the drive-thru.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So my children are the kind that mom and dad are rushing and they headed home, and mom and dad are about to go through the drive-thru, and the child's in the back like, no, the principal farmer said don't go there. Everything is the same colors. The fries look like the bun, and the bun is the same color as the chicken, right? And so they're going to force you to go to the grocery store. Now what happens when the whole family goes to the grocery store? Everybody has to get out the car. So that's a little exercise. So you're walking into the grocery store. When you walk into the grocery store, my children are going to tell you we have to shop on the perimeter of the grocery store.
Yes.
Don't go in the aisles because all that is processed food. We don't want that. We want something fresh. So they're going to go to the side, and they're going to get the vegetables, and they're going to get the fruits, and go get the meats, and go get the eggs, and go get the cheese. Then they have to go to the checkout. You got to put the stuff in the bag. When you put in the bag, you got to put the bag inside the car. Now they're driving home. Now somebody else has already gone through the drive-thru and ate their food and threw it in the back of the car already.
Yeah.
But my children got to go all the way home. Then we got to unload the groceries. Then we got to take them in and take them out of the bag. And when we take them out of the bag, guess what? Mom has to go in that drawer and pull out that recipe that great-great-grandmama gave her. Now when you pull out that recipe, now mom, dad, grandmama are sitting there saying, 2 cups of this and 1, so we teaching math again. 2 cups of this and 1 pinch of this. And then grandma said, give me a smidge of that. What the world is a smidge, right? And so now we haven't eaten yet. Then you got to put it in the oven or put it on top of the oven. Now you got to cook it, and you got to wait for it to cook. So what happens now? There's conversation in the kitchen. When is the last time we had a conversation? Put the phone down and we're talking. Now we're sitting down at dinner and consuming the food. So there's so much that we as principals can do from little words that I get a chance to put inside of 540 children every day. And that's how we change the world, one child at a time.
You are doing that. Oh my goodness. I love the way that you explain that, from just giving them that thought that they can plant in their mind, and they get in their car with their families. And then the rest is just like this whole domino effect, if you will.
It's a domino.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm thinking about the community, because you're describing how what you're saying is echoing into basically the family, which does echo into the community.
Yes.
So can you tell us more about the community that surrounds Chattahoochee Hills Charter School? Chat Hills.
Chat Hills. Absolutely.
What role do families and local partners play in supporting the school's mission?
Absolutely. So our school, we have no school buses, which is something I had to get adjusted to because I've been in the inner city as a principal all my career. And so not having buses is interesting to me, but I appreciate it now.
Okay.
What that allows me to do is I see mom, dad, grandma, uncle, guardian twice a day. So we don't have any discipline concerns because I'm going to see your mom or dad at the car in the morning.
And I'm going
to see them in the afternoon. I'm going to walk. Come on, baby.
There's more accountability.
We got to walk. There's more accountability. Also, I get a chance to know our families. It's kind of interesting that I know probably 60% of my parents' cars.
Okay.
Right. So
that's good. It's principle to know.
That's so-and-so picking up. And so we see them at the grocery store. We see them in the neighborhood. We see them at the parks. But now imagine I have a resource bank of 540 families.
Yeah.
So when I need something for the school, I don't have to go outside the school because those parents either own businesses or they work somewhere.
Right.
And so my parents will call me and say, hey, Mr. Muhammad, our company has a matching give back campaign. I'm going to put the school down because we're going to match, right?
Yeah.
Or my company has so much of this in volume. Can I donate this to the school? Or we have someone visiting and we want them to come visit the school. We just had Delta pilots come and spend the day at the school.
Wow.
With our children, right? So they can see a real life pilot. They gave out the wings. I got my wings too, but they gave out the wings to the children, right? We have companies that my children are growing the base for different hair product companies that use vegetables as the base. My babies are growing the roots that go into hair products that are sold nationwide right now.
That's amazing.
So the community, and I'm the community spokesperson. I'm going out and telling people, just like I'm doing here on Black in the Garden, about how great our school is. And so that opens us up to more opportunities, not for Patrick, not for the principal farmer, but I have a child that I might not know who it is right now, but will benefit from the exposure that we bring to the school. And someone comes and inspires them from a career day, and now they make a career decision, and it begins to change the family dynamics. Because now that child goes to school and gets that degree, and now they make $160,000 a year that the family never made. And so now they can qualify to get a farm because now the household median is greater, and now they can. So look how we can change lives by touching these. We got to stop putting our hand in our pocket and being stingy. Yeah, we got to take our hands out and reach out and help one another.
And there's a lot of reaching going on. Is what I'm hearing. Wow, you're inspiring the parents to reach back. I love that. So what about the programs and the initiatives that you have implemented there that have had the most significant impact on students? Something specific?
Yes, we have something called Phi Day. And Phi Day is just our version of how we infuse the agriculture environment or the arts inside of lessons. So on Fridays, we stop, drop, and for 2 hours, we're focused on, for example, my kindergartens were focused on recycling. And so they had a lesson on recycling, but they had the lesson on the reason why we recycle is because at the Galapagos Islands, look at the impact of all this trash and how it's, killing the seagulls and it's polluting the water and the fish are dying. And so now they understand from a global level why I need to recycle this and not throw it in the trash. Right? So we try to take them broad and then bring them back local. And so having that happen in kindergarten, but in 8th grade, they may be debating, doing a mock debate with some city officials on how they should argue for or against deforestation, or how they should argue for or against a new subdivision coming, right? And so you know how we just see the sign that says zoning change because, right, we have no say-so. That's because we haven't been trained to have say-so. But if I'm training my babies that you have a voice, you go to city council meeting. When you go to city council meeting, when they have public comments, you stand up and you have a prepared public comment and you vote against that subdivision because the traffic is going to increase, the deforestation. So we're teaching them how agriculture and environment is tied right in, but you learn it at an early level. And so those are some of the opportunities that we infuse inside of our lessons. So yes, we teach reading, math, science, and social studies, but we teach it through the lens of art, ag, and environment.
What's your demographic looking like? What do the kids actually look like that you're serving? I'm assuming that you have a lot of impact on Black and brown kids.
Absolutely. So our demographics are right about 98% African American and 2% other.
Because when I think about a school, if someone said, hey, there's a school that focuses on agricultural education, I might not have assumed that it was a Black school.
Yes.
Like many may not have.
It's not. And we are an anomaly, but we're intentional. And there's a space for us in this place. So yes, my babies do 4-H and FFA, and that's Future Farmers of America. And when we go to our competitions, you can pick us out. Because we have to go way up north or way up south. And it's like, who are those children coming in there? What do they know about forestry? What do they know about soil health? What do they know about quarter horses? What do they know about milking cows? Yep. And we go right there with our head held up. And we may not win that competition, but just know we're going to keep on coming.
Representing.
And as we keep on coming, our talent is going to supersede whatever you try to do to push us down. And so just exposing them to it's exposure.
Yes.
Right. And if you continue to expose, something's going to stick.
Yes.
Right. And so we're very intentional in exposing them. So One thing I didn't share is we have access to 820 acres of forest behind our campus.
That's a lot of acreage.
So we have 2 classrooms in the woods. I personally lead them on hikes at least one semester. I'll take every child on a hike. And so in that, we're looking at habitats. We're looking at trees. And, I'll take them out there and I say, oh, look at all these pine trees. What would you do with pine trees? Has anybody ever done anything with pine trees in Georgia? And then we start talking about Home Depot. Where did Home Depot start off? Where are they getting these trees from? Mm-hmm. Can you plant pine trees? Mm-hmm. Right? Where'd you get your Christmas tree from? Mm. Did somebody plant that Christmas tree? So you could plant Christmas trees too, right?
Yeah.
But what about pine straw and pine needle? Remember we see that block that somebody brought and they put the pine straw in front of your mom's garden? That came from these trees that somebody planted. And look at this forest, it's full of pine trees. Right? So you show children like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't think about it like
possibilities.
There's possibilities. And where are the next inventions coming from that deal with agriculture? It's coming from these little babies. And so we're exposing them to things that the concrete jungle just does not expose them to.
So, okay, let's shift a little bit because I'm thinking about what the world is like that we're living in right now. Mm-hmm. We are under a new administration. We're looking at the shifts that are happening in educational policy. Mm-hmm. And there's such a critical need right now to equip the young people with practical and future-focused skills.
Yes.
Of course, agricultural education feels more important now than ever.
Yes.
So what do you see as the long-term benefits for Black students and families when this kind of education is prioritized?
Yes. I believe that families have to be extremely involved in whatever school your child attends. Mm-hmm. And when I say that, our parents have to influence curriculum. They have to influence the food in the cafeteria. They have to influence the people that are chosen to be stewards of their greatest investment called their child. Like, you should know your teacher, and your teacher definitely should know you, as a parent. And so with this current administration, yes, school is going to look different in the next 10 to 15 years, right? Mm-hmm. So that's going to exhaust this current administration. But the policies that are put in place will impact that 10 to 15 years. But I encourage our community to begin to look at the technology that's out there. Right. And so, yes, everybody's talking about AI. Mm-hmm. I'm very intentional in telling my students, computers are dumb. You say, oh, Mr. Muhammad, that's kind of harsh.
It sounds empowering to me. That's what I hear.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Computers are dumb. And I tell them, you are the highest intelligence. Mm-hmm. All AI does is scrub the internet of information that's there.
Yes.
It can't tell you about information that's not there because it's dumb.
Yeah.
It's scrubbing. It brings it to reality. Mm-hmm. You are smart.
Yeah.
You can create something today that tomorrow AI has to use, but you are creating today. And so when you teach children that you are involved in the greatest classroom on the planet called planet Earth, you're going to learn from it every day. It's giving you information. You just have to tap into that source. And so we have to teach our children to learn how to use AI and not abuse AI. One of the biggest careers is going to be prompt engineers.
Yes, I've read about this.
Those are people that ask question number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to AI and not question number 1, right? And so that's in agriculture too. They're using AI now in agriculture. At my school right now, we have a hydroponic system that uses AI to tell when my plants need more phosphorus or calcium. And the AI, which is on my phone right now, I can tell that system to add more. It tell me when the water is low and et cetera. It can tell me when I can harvest, right? So we're teaching children, you can still be in ag and use AI. I just had someone come out and bring these 4-foot by 4-foot drones to my campus and show my children how you can irrigate farms with drones. So you want to play with the drones and stuff? You can irrigate the farm. Look, and then I showed them how you could take that and you can be a sheep herder, because you can take the drone and lower it behind the sheep and it gets their prey animals. But a prey animal means their eyes are on the side, right?
Oh.
So prey animals, your deer, your sheep, your goats, horses, etc., they don't see directly in front of them and they don't see directly in back of them. That's why when you see the deer on the road, it turns his head like this to see you. right?
Oh.
So prey animals, you move them from the back. And they have to turn their eye this way, they turn their eye that way. So you take the drone and put it behind them, and you can herd,
that is next
right. So
level.
it's weird things like that
Yeah.
because I'm a farmer by day,
Yeah.
that I can now take and make it an educational opportunity to give children years of experience in small little conversation that now they can benefit from.
Oh wow, you are doing that, and thank you for that, Jim, with the sheep. The sheep, because we know there's no S on it. About how you can herd sheep with drones.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay, I feel like that's a whole nother episode about technology, but we're still thinking about collaboration.
Yes.
And how you are able to further the mission
Yes.
of Chat Hills. And also, I know how you think, I know how you operate, and what you shared with us. It's important for you to reach back and help others. So when we're thinking about collaboration being so important in farming and education, how do you partner with local farms or businesses to enhance the students' experiences?
Absolutely. I encourage farms surrounding schools to go to the school, meet with the principal, and establish that relationship. Additionally, in the state of Georgia, House Bill 1330 says that any school that's interested in having an agriculture teacher, that county has to provide that agriculture teacher. So now that means that we need more agriculture teachers. So now go back to the 1890 land grant scholarships. Now we're telling children, go into ag education at these 1890s because you can come to Georgia because these schools need some agriculture teachers. Additionally, with that, we show schools how to turn those schools into farms. Right?
Okay.
So we do have consulting that we do. And they can reach out to us for consulting. And we'll show you exactly how to make your school a farm. What do you mean?
Yes, what do you mean?
My school is a USDA registered farm.
Wow.
So my school gets the same opportunities that I get at my personal farm. We get it at my school. And I can show every school how to benefit from the USDA opportunity. So that's how we impact. But you should have a community garden in your subdivision. And my school can show you how to have a community garden inside your subdivision. Every school should, I don't care if you have only concrete walls, you need to have a hydroponic system inside of your school, showing children that they can grow no matter the space, they can grow right there in the school. We have to tie children to life. And like all this life that you have here at Black in the Garden, that's giving off energy, it's giving off oxygen, etc. But there's an exchange of life. So we need to put more life around children, and we can do that by adding gardens to schools.
Well said, and well done, because that's exactly what you're doing. So let me recap. Your school is a farm, but not only are y'all just writing off of the fact that we got a farm at our school, you're making sure that others who may be interested in learning more about how they can turn their school into a farm, because people are going to hear this. Parents are going to hear this, teachers, administrators, people involved in various aspects of educational systems across the land are going to hear this and wonder how they can do that at their schools. So in closing, tell them what they would need to do in order to make that happen. I know you said reach out, but let's just give some specifics to that.
Absolutely. So for the consultation, you'll go to patrickmuhammad.com and we have a questionnaire there where you can put in your information and talk about what your desires are, that you saw it on Black in the Garden. And then we can show you as a school directly how to do it. Because my school is doing so well, we have almost a 700 child waiting list.
Whew, that's more than you have in the school.
That's more than we have in the school. So we are working on expanding. Hopefully within the next 2 to 4 years, we'll go kindergarten through 12th grade. But we are looking for a city nearby that wants to duplicate our model. And they will come in and go from ground up and create Chattahoochee Hills Charter #2. So if you're out there, you want to be just like us, and I don't know if I'm a Gemini, but I don't know if I can split in half, but I can take your principal and show them how to do exactly what we're doing. But you can go to patrickmuhammad.com.
All right. Well, we learned so much, things I didn't even expect to learn, but no surprise should be there because we're talking to a principal, right? Hey. The principal farmer. Patrick, it has been a joy having you back on the show, the work that you're doing at Chattahoochee Hills Charter School, is nothing short of revolutionary, and it's inspiring to hear how you are empowering students to not only connect with the land, but also with their own potential. Your passion for blending agriculture, education, and sustainability is paving the way for a future where young people can lead with knowledge, responsibility, and care for the environment. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, and for all my soil cousins listening. Until next time, we want to wish you all love, light, and soil. We want you to make sure you stay planted so you can tune in for the watering moment with Plant Zaddy.
Patrick's work reminds us that true growth comes not just from what we do for ourselves, but from how we reach out to lift others. The children are our future, just like Whitney Houston said, okay? And don't forget it, we have to start early, just like a seed growing into a bloom. We need to take care of our future when it looks like we don't really know who's gonna protect our rights. Programs and educations like this are important and vital. Each of us has an internal hand, a unique ability to help our neighbors, inspire our communities, and leave a lasting impact for generations to come. So here's a challenge for you. Find that hand within. How can you use your knowledge and your skills or your resources to make a difference? Because without knowledge, we are nothing but ignorant. No better than the next chain in the link of life. So Plant Fam, let's stretch beyond our own gardens and nurture the world around us. Every action, no matter how small, has the power to ripple through time. And as always, Plant Fam, plant more and worry less. Plant Zaddy out. In the current state that we're living in, with DEI going to, I was about to say, that's why I can't talk off the dome with this climate. Let me stick to this. Go back all the way up. I'll start at the top. Okay.
Black in the garden. Black like the root of my hair, from the top of my head to the soles of my feet. Hey, yeah, black like the root of my hair. I'ma grow what I eat in the garden where I be, yeah. WABE.